Most people think learning AI starts and ends with prompting. That's not a bad place to begin. Learning how to ask better questions matter. Better prompts do unlock better results. But in 2026, prompting alone won't be the advantage. The real advantage is learning how AI fits into real systems and real work. Prompting helps you use AI. Understanding how to implement it scales what you can do with it. That's the shift happening right now. Let me explain. This video isn't a tutorial, it's about how to think about AI properly. For most people, learning AI starts with chatbots. If you're not using tools like ChatGPT or Gemini in 2026, how are you actually getting things done? But seriously, that's a solid first step. Because prompting does matter. How you phrase things changes what you get back. This is where people start building intuition. They learn what models are strong at or where the reasoning starts to weaken. But many people stop here. They open a new conversation every time. They never set system prompts. They treat AI like a search engine. Ask, get an answer, move on. Nothing compounds, no context builds, no structure forms. And that's the point where AI becomes helpful, but never becomes transformational. Because once AI shows up in real work, the question changes. It's no longer what should I ask? It's how can I make this a part of my work? Once you rely on AI for real work, prompting alone hits the ceiling. Not because prompts stop working, but because memory and structure become more important than just wording. Real work isn't one question, it's a chain of decisions. Context from last week, constraints you've already defined, standards you don't want to renegotiate every time. One-off chats don't remember that. Every new conversation resets the context, especially when there are no system prompts set. Goals reset, preferences reset, standards reset. So you end up re-explaining yourself instead of building momentum. This is where people feel AI plateau. They think they need better prompts, new models, or more tools. But the real issue is how the system is being used. Once AI is involved in planning, prioritization, or judgment, the problem isn't asking better questions, it's preserving context. Here's what actually changes when people properly learn AI. The unit of work changes. Without AI, most knowledge work is fragile. It depends on memory, effort, and remembering how something was done last time. Two people can do the exact same task and get different results. Even the same person gets different results on different days. Learning AI changes that. Work becomes repeatable. The same inputs lead to the same standard of output. Decisions follow the same logic every time. Quality stops depending on mood or guesswork. That's leverage. Not because AI replaces thinking, but because it removes variability from routine work. Once a system is defined, your role changes. You stop redoing work you've already solved and focus on deciding what matters, setting the standards, and reviewing outcomes. AI handles consistency, you handle judgment. That's where the advantage compounds. People who learn AI don't just move faster. They produce work that's more reliable, more predictable, and easier to build on. That's why learning AI matters, because it turns knowledge into something that holds its shape. Before this gets misunderstood, here is what AI is not. When people think of automation and leverage, they think shortcuts, less effort, less thinking, replacement. That's not what's happening here. AI doesn't remove the need to understand your work. It removes the parts of work that don't need to be repeated by a human every time. It multiplies whatever you bring to the table. Low standards get scaled. Unclear thinking gets exposed faster. But solid reasoning, clear goals, and well-defined standards get amplified. That's why this isn't a shortcut. Shortcuts bypass understanding. AI doesn't. People who try to skip fundamentals ends up fighting with the system. The ones who benefit treat AI as a support for judgment, not a replacement for it. AI handles repetition, you handle decisions. That's the multiplier. So if prompting is just the starting point, actually hold on, we're getting into the technical layers now, so let me put my glasses on. And I'm currently filming this at midnight. So these are gonna actually help me lock in. Okay, the obvious question is, what does learning AI properly actually mean? Not tools, not tricks, not memorizing prompts. It's learning the layers around the model. First are instructions that are persistent. Instead of restarting intent every time, you define behavior by default, standards, tone, and constraints. That's where system prompts come in. They don't make the model smarter. They make it predictable. Then comes memory. Real work has history, decisions already made, context that shouldn't disappear. Learning AI means understanding how that context is carried forward instead of starting from zero. Next are workflows. This is how AI becomes part of how work moves. Drafting, reviewing, summarizing, checking. You define the flow once, and the system follows it. Finally, there's oversight. Knowing when to trust the output, knowing when to intervene, knowing when judgment matters more than automation. That part never goes away. Learning AI isn't about mastering one thing. It's about understanding how these pieces fit together so you can actually build on them. So why does this matter now? Because AI has moved past novelty. It's no longer something you occasionally experiment with. It's becoming part of how work actually happens. Not in theory, in planning, in analysis, in execution. In 2026, the gap won't be between who uses AI and who doesn't. Almost everyone will use it. The gap will be people who understand how it fits into their work and people who keep starting over. One group builds systems they trust, the other stays shallow. That difference compounds, quietly but consistently, and once it opens, it's hard to close. If you take one thing away, let it be this: prompting is a skill, but it's not the skill. The real advantage is understanding how AI fits into real work, how instructions persist, how context is carried forward, how workflows repeat, and where human judgment still matters. People who learn that don't just get better outputs, they build ways of working that scales with them. That's what learning AI properly actually means. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and please leave a comment telling me what you thought of it. This is an exciting new channel. I'm a data engineer in one of the leading companies in the world, and I'm bringing my expertise to teach you guys about AI and how to use it to improve yourself and improve the work you're producing.